anticipating the Cardano governance age coming up, you'll need to run a full node on. Currently, it's Sancho testnet.
Yep, yep, that's right.
Then you can learn all about distributed governance.
Yep. Yeah, so it's the same process, very similar. I haven't run a Sancho node yet, but I believe it's very similar. So if you're experienced with running a node on Cardano, you can transfer those skills over quite easily. What is this? This is delayed. Is it? I don't know if they mean delayed as in I'm just late by half an hour, or if delayed as in it's laggy, which it has been. All right, that all looks good. Let's see how quickly I can go through this. So building a node, this has always been fun. Now, why would you? If you want to become an SBO, Sancho testnet, an off-chain batcher for one of these platforms out there at the moment, such as, what are they? Spectrum Finance, Ncoins, and all these other ones that are coming out at the moment. They're really good opportunities for anyone that isn't necessarily a stake pool operator, but you can spin up a node and become a part of that ecosystem and provide the resources for these decentralized dApps that are out there. So it's a nice way to earn a little bit of revenue for a little bit of work. You can also use it as a private submit API. So back in the, I think about a year and a half ago, when did Sunday Swap launch? When Sunday Swap launched, I can't remember the date, it's all a blur now, there was a lot of resources being used. And if you had your own private submit API to submit your transactions to, you could bypass a lot of those resources that were being clogged up and get your transactions on chain. So a lot of people are still using this as well for some of these really big NFT mints, and it just gets the transactions out there a little bit faster by bypassing the ones that are being a little bit congested. And of course, you can start developing on Cardano by writing transactions too. Now, there's a lot of guides out there already. These guides are fantastic. I still reference them all the time, and I highly recommend that you look at them as well if you're running a node. Now, some of these are over the top. They go into so much detail. Got the Cardano docs. I tried following them. I kind of failed there. Cardano course, brand new. Lots of useful information. Now, the one that a lot of people use is this Coin Cashew one. Really easy step-by-step guide. I just finished one. I'll get through the presentation as quickly as possible, then I can die later. But the really easy way of setting up a node is using this thing called Guild Operators CN Tools. This does almost everything for you. A couple of lines of code after you download the initial guild deploy here. After you run that, it downloads all the dependencies, it builds it all for you, or almost all for you. Then you're pretty much up and running. I did one last night as a test. I did it in about 45 minutes. So it's pretty fast in regards how to do it. Just that the syncing time of the node does take a while. Hardware requirements. You do need, a minimum 16 gig of RAM, 4 core CPUs at least, 300 gigs of hard drive space, and a good understanding of Unix commands. Now, I used DigitalOcean last night to do this. I think I'm still logged in. And of course, I'm not. Maybe I am, but I'm just on the login screen. Say again? Downloaded compressed, it's about 80 gig. So uncompressed, I think it's like 120 or something. Yeah. Okay. Now, I was going to show you how much it actually costs to run a node. For the current specs, it's about $96 US per node if you're running on shared environments. If you want a dedicated environments, it will cost you even more.
Is that per month?
Per month, yep. DigitalOcean might have like a little like cost calculator before it. I don't exactly want to log in on a live stream. Droplets. Here we go. So I need around this much RAM, memory, here we go. Yeah, 96 a month, roughly. So this is costly, it does add up. As a state pool operator myself, I have 4 relay nodes and a block producer. And the block producer, I actually have higher resources. I got 32 gig of RAM. So again, that costs more. That's a dedicated one though. Ah, boy. Okay, let's back to my notes. So in terms of security, you do need to go through and secure the shit out of these. It's like the last thing you want as a state pool operator is to have any of these nodes compromised whatsoever. Highly recommend SSH keys, no passwords. I use a thing called a jump box as well, which is a server that sits in between myself and all those relays. So I have to log into a jump box, and from that jump box, I then log into my other servers. And there's no other ways to get into those relays or block producers without that jump box. Oh my God. All servers have two-factor authentication on them as well as all these firewalls that I've configured on there. So there's no way to access these servers unless those firewall rules are applied. Now, I was going to go through a walkthrough here, but I'll try and just show you how it looks on the relay, because I don't think I'll survive. But after you do get all of this set up and running, extra brownie points if you can set up your infrastructure as code. Now, this platform here is called Terraform, and it's a nice way to start looking at how to transcribe everything that you do in terms of all the command lines from here into a committed code base. That way you can run that code base on Terraform and then fire up new relays and servers at will. So it's a nice way to automate disaster recovery or expansion of your nodes if you ever want to create more of them for whatever reason. The other thing, which I don't think I've got the slides for here, is Grafana. Here we go. I did have this, but I didn't put it on the slides, is the monitoring. So once you have your state pool, whatever, operating, you have your relay nodes, you need to make sure it's running. And I use a thing called Grafana here, which gives me a really beautiful dashboard so I can visually see how my pools are all operating and how they're all running. Gives you nice stats, nice graphs. You can do alerts. So if anything's happening to your state pool, when this loads, you'll be able to know straight away. I've got like another monitor that's off screen. So if you watch me on YouTube, on the far side of the screen, off screen, I've got another monitor that has all my Grafana stuff on there. Okay, so it's not the internet, it's just some of these websites. So you get a nice little dashboard like this. Mine doesn't look anywhere near as good. I don't know how these guys get them so fancy. Don't know if you can see that well, but yeah, that's like a general output of a really nice Grafana dashboard. Okay, so that's the general stuff that you'll need to do. Now let me just go through this little guide here on Guild Tools, and it will give you an idea of how this all works. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I've set up a node already. What I've done is I've gone through the security hardware process of setting up a brand new account. I called it Cardano. I simply followed all the guides here on CoinCashew for server hardening. So it's a good starting point. If you go to installation, hardening an Ubuntu server. A nice little tip as well when you're starting up a new droplet, use a Ubuntu version that has LTS, long-term support. I've used the other ones before and they stopped supporting it, and then I realized I have to transfer all my data over or fire up a new node. Really annoying because like you go to update something and you think all your dependencies are up to date and you're trying to update it, but all the paths or whatever they're called, they don't exist and you have to manually manage them. So it's just easier if you choose a droplet or a node server that has Ubuntu instance that has long-term support. All right, where was it? Node, here, enter. So I don't know if this node's completely synced yet. Memory usage, 50%, maybe it has. So let's go here, cd op, Cardano, script. And this one hasn't fully synced yet. But this is something that's called GLive view. And it gives you an idea of how your node's stats are performing, what it's actually doing at the moment. And what this one is doing at the moment is still syncing. It's syncing the blockchain. It's up to epoch 312. So it's downloaded 88% of the blockchain at the moment. Still got a long way to go. So this might not completely sync for another 8-9 hours, maybe, I hope, fingers crossed. The other things that you can see here is I've also set this one up for peer-to-peer. So peer-to-peer is one of the new node connection topologies that they've set up for relay nodes. And you, what it does is it allows you to transfer data back and forth between whatever nodes you're connected to. Before you had to manually set up a topology which allows you to direct which state pools or which nodes your pool is connected to. And what a lot of people do with that for submit APIs or those endpoints that transact those submitted transactions out there is people are spamming the network and connecting to as many state pools as possible. So sometimes you'll see a lot of state pool operators saying they are doing the fastest transactions out there, and that's how they're doing it. They're spamming all these other state pools out there so that when they receive a transaction, they're submitting it out to as many other state pools as possible, as quickly as possible. And it's a nice way of doing it. I do it for our own delegates as well. It helps propagate those transactions as quickly as possible. Any questions at the moment? Cool. Should I go through the technical side of setting it up, or are you okay with it? Yeah, thought so. So that's a general rundown of setting up a node. It's not hard at all if you really want to get into it. And I highly recommend going through all of those guides. And literally this one here from Guild Operators, if you go through the command line step by step, copy them step by step and paste them through the terminal, you'll be able to set up a state pool node in no time. I do recommend going back and learning what each one of those steps does, so that if you ever need to troubleshoot it or upgrade your node, you know how to go back and fix all those things. But we'll leave it at that. We're at 3 o'clock, which is when I wanted to end this day. So yeah, thank you.